alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to the show, Baithak with three Khans. Um, Today we have a special guest, actually two special guests. They represent one of the very well-known cricketing league in Chicagoland area. From TBCA, we have Sheikh Atif bhai, Sheikh Atif Mumtaz bhai, and Shaeq Hassan bhai. We'll get to the introductions in a second, but let's talk quickly about the ongoing World Cup. So lately, Pakistan, जैसे अपनी जबान में कहते हैं कि प्रोग्राम तो बढ़ गया है पाकिस्तान का तो हो गया pretty much जैसी end of the line for Pakistan. I think, I mean, आज रात को मैच शुरू होगा पाकिस्तान इंग्लैंड का, लेकिन उससे पहले सिचुएशन काफी ब्लीक है और मेरे ख्याल से पाकिस्तान का टाइम पूरा हो चुका वर्ल्ड कप का। और बाकी टीमों ने खासतौर पर न्यूजीलैंड और श्रीलंका का गेम बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग था और न्यूजीलैंड आराम से जीत गया। जो हम कुदरत का निज़ाम सोच रहे थे कि बारिश होगी और वो बारिश अपने कंधों पे पाकिस्तान को उठा के सेमीफाइनल में ले आएगी, ऐसा कुछ नहीं हुआ और न्यूजीलैंड ने बहुत आराम से वो गेम जीत लिया। और अब ये है कि इट्स टाइम टू जस्ट वॉच एंड एंजॉय द रेस्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड कप। दैट बीइंग सेड, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट क्रिकेट, बट क्रिकेट इन शिकागोलैंड एरिया। तो शिकागोलैंड एरिया के अंदर बहुत सारी लीग्स हैं और बहुत सारी लीग्स काफ़ी डिफरेंट एरिया के हिसाब से भी है। कुछ ज़्यादा कंसंट्रेटेड है सबर्ब्स में, कुछ ज़्यादा इन्वॉल्व है सिटी के अंदर, कुछ नेशनल लेवल पे है। तो इसी तरह एक टेप बॉल क्रिकेट लीग है जिसका नाम है TBCA। हमारे बहुत 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 अजीज दोस्त भी हैं और स्टार्टिंग से हम उनके साथ खेल रहे हैं। और उस TBCA लीग के बारे में मैं आपको लेके चलता हूँ हमारे गेस्ट की तरफ। आतिफ भाई एंड शाइक भाई हमारे साथ फिर से दोबारा ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, एहसन एंड उमैर। So, guys, let's get started. Atif bhai, please take this platform and introduce yourself.
Well, this is Atif, Sheikh Atif, known as in Chicago. Um, the purpose, as Yasir, thank you so much for inviting us to your show. I've watched a couple episodes, and you guys are doing amazing. I think this is a platform which is going to grow more and more, especially for the Chicago audience. Table Cricket Association. What is TBCA? TBCA stands for Tape Ball Cricket Association. The whole idea and the vision behind Tape Ball Cricket Association was to have an organized and promotional level cricket in Chicagoland. At the time when we started, almost a decade ago, उस time यहाँ पे organized, यहाँ पे tape ball होती थी. I'm not gonna say that नहीं होती थी, indoor level पे बहुत होती थी, लेकिन outdoor जो थी वो organized नहीं थी. They were like every Sunday a bunch of guys would gather up and play. You know, at that time जब organization बीच में नहीं होती किसी चीज के, so you actually waiting for people to come on time. You know, किसी के पास bat है, किसी के पास ball है, नहीं है, किसी के पास tape नहीं है, किसी को, you know, we're sending it to some store and get the tapes and stuff like that. So the idea behind TBCA, that's when it came up. You know, we came up with an idea where we said, okay, you know what, I was started thinking about कि यार यहाँ पे कोई organization होनी चाहिए, कोई एक organization in a sense कि not a formal organization but some organized cricket होनी चाहिए Chicagoland area में for tape ball. Hardball बहुत ज़्यादा है. There are so many hardball leagues that are going on in Chicagoland, and at that time to a decade ago as well. लेकिन टेप बॉल नहीं थी. सो जब टेप बॉल का आइडिया इस तरह आया कि वी लाइक ओके, यू नो व्हाट, वी नीड टू ऑर्गेनाइज द होल स्ट्रक्चर, वी नीड टू पुट सम स्ट्रक्चर अराउंड पीपल एंड ब्रिंग अवेयरनेस अराउंड आवर देसी कम्युनिटी, जहाँ पे लोगों को पता चल सके कि जी वी आर एक्चुअली डूइंग टेप बॉल इन शिकागोलैंड. So that's how TBCA came into being. And then obviously I can't do it myself. You know, you need some qualified and some people around you with you that can be ambassador of the game and ambassador of your voice as well. That they can speak the same word that your vision is. So usme phir I met Sheikh Hassan bhai, where we came, you know, we sat down and we said, okay, you know, how do we execute this idea? So we started putting the teams together. We started talking to people and telling them कि यार अपनी team बनाएं आप. We went to the mosque, we went to different areas, where we met other Desi community, Pakistani, Indian, Sri Lankan, Bangladeshi, all of these community folks from the community, and we started telling them, okay, form your team, and then TBCA is going to provide you the structure behind how these tape ball games are going to take place in Chicagoland.
Got it.
Now, obviously, we had challenges where a lot of people are so used to playing in a proper ground, which is basically like the grass ground, the grounds that are used by the hardball league. And so that's where I stepped in and I said, it's very, there are very limited areas and grounds in Chicagoland, and in that too agar wo tape ball wale use karna shuru kar dein, so then it becomes very difficult for the hardball league to play, because tape ball can be played anywhere, right? It could be
That's
played
correct.
in a grass area, on a hard surface, asphalt, and as so and so. So we were like, okay, you know what, we can go and talk to different schools. We can go and talk to different police departments in different areas, in different suburbs.
Atif
And
bhai, that's a sorry, sorry to cut you off. That's a very good point. And I want you to continue from there. But I'm just gonna get Shaikh bhai in it real quick so that people would, our audience would have a better understanding how this duo, the power duo works. All right. So I'm just gonna reel Shaikh bhai in. Shaikh bhai, Assalamu alaikum sir. Please introduce कर अपने आप को.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, thank you, all three of you, Yasir, Umair, and Ahsen, for
बहुत
doing this,
शुक्रिया.
inviting us. जैसे आतिफ तो बोला कि शिकागो में टेप बॉल तो खैर हो रही थी, और मैं भी यहाँ अर्ली 90s से टेप बॉल खेल रहा हूँ. पहले उस वक्त हार्ड बॉल सिर्फ वाशिंगटन पार्क में सैटरडे संडे को होती थी. उस वक्त इस तरह मल्टीपल लीग नहीं थी हार्ड बॉल की, और वीकेंड में तो इट वाज इम्पॉसिबल टू गेट एनीबडी फॉर टेप बॉल, because whatever the limited amount of desi guys we had, they just used to go for hard ball in Washington Park. तो बहरहाल हम लोग अर्ली 90s में वीकडेज में खेलते थे शाम में एवरी इवनिंग. It was very easy to find 30 to 40 guys easily in north side of city, Devon area, and we had multiple locations. Devon, Hoyne and Granville, Pratt, and Kedzie, and also Foster and Kedzie, those three locations. Early 90s में टेबल क्रिकेट होती थी, और जाहिर सी बात है ऑर्गेनाइज कोई एज अ लीग के तौर पे तो नहीं, मल्टीपल टीम्स वर देयर एंड वी जस्ट यूज्ड टू प्ले विद ईच अदर. इवन लाइक 97 में हम लोगों ने उस वक्त लड़कों ने मिलके दोस्तों ने टेप बॉल टूर्नामेंट कराया था आउटडोर. वी हैड अबाउट 6 टीम्स, एंड उस जमाने में पाकिस्तान के एक फेडरल मिनिस्टर भी यहाँ शिकागो में होते थे, उनके जरिए इनामात दिलवाए थे ताकि सबको शौक बढ़े. तो खैर, it was not organized, but still tape ball cricket has been going on since early 90s here. And over the time when the Pakistani Indian population grew up, more and more players we had, and there was even time like 97 में हमने शुरू किया था. हम लोग शिकागो सिटी से लड़के every Sunday we used to come Woodfield Mall, and we used to play with Chicago versus suburb team. There's a Citibank building by Woodfield Mall, and that's the parking lot we used to use. Well, we had to start at 7:30 because by 10 o'clock you start getting all this Woodfield crowd. So by 10 o'clock we used to be done by 2 games.
Wow.
So
That's
that happened.
amazing.
And imagine, 10, 15 guys coming from city, Devon area, all the way to Woodfield Mall, Schaumburg area, early morning to start the game by 7:15, 7:30. It was not easy task.
That's dedication. That's dedication.
Yeah. So even that we carried until up to 99, 2000. And uske baad then I myself with family moved to suburbs, and over the time, not every weekend, not every month we were able to play because it's hard to find guys in suburbs, unlike city. And then I guess me and Atif started again in 2015 or 2016 when we met each other and talked to each other. and we started the league like with the rules and regulation. We tried to start the proper TBCA league. First we started in summer, then we started in winter, and it's been going on since then.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I believe कि आतिफ भाई बता रहे थे कि they um, how they conduct games. So Atif bhai, I'll take you from there. So basically मेरा question था कि currently how big is TBCA? So what you were saying आपकी जो आप बात कर रहे थे उसी को incorporate करके अगर आप audience को बताना चाहें कि आप फिल वक्त कहाँ तक पहुंचे हैं और what's your future plan with the league?
Yeah, TBCA from the time we started till where we are right now, it's mashallah say has grown a lot. Okay, there's but there's still a lot of gaps in it, and there's still a lot where we would like to go. Where personally I would like TBCA to go, but again we do have challenges. Challenges, and in a sense that because it's a almost a free league. Up until last 2 years back, it was a $0 league for summer, and for to run a league with no price on it, it's challenging, right? Because you have to, again, you all the people that are working with the league are volunteers, right? So to take them with you throughout the whole process, it's difficult. So we have come way far from where we started. We started with, and I'm going to speak from outdoor perspective, right? Outdoor summer league from that runs from May all the way till September end, for 3 or 4 months. We started with probably 6 teams. Now we have 14 teams, right? And next year I am projecting that we will have 2 or 3 or maybe 4 more teams coming in. So it's growing gradually. It's growing. There are more and more people that are interested to play tape ball. Okay, I have had again, for your audiences, tape ball is basically very common for Pakistani region, right? Pakistan, and as in such for country Pakistan. The only two places where tape ball is really played at a street level, which is one is Pakistan and the other one is in Caribbean cities or Caribbean countries, right? India में tape ball नहीं खेली जाती. India में more like hard tennis से खेला जाता है,
Correct,
right?
that's correct.
They don't use the bat that we use. They don't use the tape that we use. It's more mainly for Pakistan. So now, but we are trying to introduce the game to our Indian friends as well, to Sri Lankans and to Bangladeshis as well. That area and that region. Even some people, some guys that have reached out to me are from UK and from South Africa as well that want to play tape ball. So I'm projecting that next year we'll probably have 2 Indian teams that are going to join Tape Ball Cricket Association and play with us in the tape ball format in outdoor.
That's crazy. That's nice.
Yeah.
आतिफ भाई, let me ask you this. आप लोग सालों से तो कर रहे हो ये league, but you said there's a couple of challenges and a couple of gaps, right? तो आप लोग जब arrange कर रहे हो अपनी tournaments, you guys are renting out, I believe, a soccer field, right? So have you guys thought about like your own space?
Again, the idea is there. We always think about it that we should have something, kind of a dome created or developed, that we can use it solely for cricket purposes. But uski feasibility and the whole funding around it is very difficult. It's just not a one person that can take care of this. We need investors. We are always looking for investors to come and join us, and not just us, other cricket league as well, right? The other cricket leagues are also going through the same challenges where we don't have such funding and investments where we can build our own domes, right? And then the biggest challenge that comes in is that because where we live in United States, right, not everybody like the Americans don't understand much about cricket concept, right? So you have to work with the local district, the local authorities, the local counties, and walk them and teach them what really cricket is, and how big of a ground and how big of a field that we need. It's not that easy. We have to go through the whole legal processes in order to accomplish this. And there are some other leagues that are very financially stable than us are working on getting that accomplished. Yes.
अच्छा, तो you know how you were saying that अभी तो आप like $0 leagues आपने शुरू करी थी. So what's the commercial viability? आप लोग, are you intending for this to be, you know, just for fun type of league? या आप लोग चाह रहे हो कि commercially आप उसको grow करो, eventually you want it to be where it's a paid, you know, with like you were saying, a sponsor. Is that the goal?
Yeah, my goal, my vision, and I'll let Hassan Bhai speak to it as well. My vision has always been to provide cricket at the minimalist price, or to, especially for outdoor, to a no price. And why is that? Because my vision is to promote the game, not for the league to make as much money or much money from the game, right?
You're not
My
looking
vision
at it
is,
from perspective of profit loss. You're not trying to.
no. So that
Okay.
that has always been never a case for TBCA. TBCA was formed in only one sole vision, was to promote the game within US. Whether you know, indoor during the time of winter where we are renting a place, or where we have to go indoor and play in a soccer field and stuff like that, obviously there is some fees are involved in it, right? We have to rent a place, and in order to coop up that rent, we have to charge fees to the team and then take that money and give it to the renter, to the owners of that facility. So that there is a money involved there. But again, we try to keep the fees as minimum as possible so that it's not that much for the people that are playing. Again, the idea is to get more teams, more people engaged, where it's not a burden on a player that, hey, I have to pay maybe $300 or $400 just to play a game.
अच्छा, तो आप लोग non-profit हो या, or is there
We are non-profit.
Okay, got it. So पहले आपने just before this आप discuss कर रहे थे, maybe I'll ask Shaeq भाई. तो अभी आप लोग बोल रहे हो कि you know you got Pakistanis, Indians, Sri Lankans, Bangladeshi. तो are you looking for in the future to expand outside of that? You know, the demographics in the United States is much larger than the South Asian community. तो आपके mind में है कि you know we will try to export this game to other communities as well?
Somebody, do you want to go?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so definitely, because I'll tell you that it's not about only the subcontinent region, right? I have been working very closely with and I'm from Lombard, the area, the suburb, or the city called Lombard in Chicagoland area, one of the suburbs. I've been working very closely with the local schools to bring awareness of cricket to non-Desi community, right? There have been kids that are from like American kids that I've been trying to teach them, and even we have gifted some cricket equipments out to them as well. Not maybe for your audience, and maybe some people don't know about it, but I do also have a batting cage in my house, right, where I invite a lot of kids from my kids' school that come along with him, and I try to teach them or also give them an opportunity to play with a cricket bat. And that's the part we can play here in US, because the game is not famous outside of certain demographics. We have to work much harder in order to promote the game. So that there are things that we are doing, but it's on a very slow pace. Yes.
Sure. So फिर you are, I'm assuming, one of many, right? ये नहीं कि सिर्फ आप ही कर रहे हो Midwest में. There's a lot of other leagues as well. So me as a consumer or a first time person जो आ रहा है, you know, खेलने के लिए, why should I choose you guys? What makes you different? Would you classify yourself as the best you know, tape ball cricket league? What do you have to offer that others aren't offering?
Well, it's not that others are not offering, is that you bring what do you bring on the table, right? So I'll take you back a few years back where we started from. So when we started, and how TBCA, one of the solid foundation of why TBCA came into being is because when I went to play a certain league, and I'm not going to name any league, but when I went to play a certain league and that league was already existing there, already thi wahan pe, and I talked to them, your certain equipment is not to the par, right? You can change your ball, type of your ball, or you can change your type of your bat, and I'll tell you one other reason as well. The game will improve itself, right? And that's the difference that TBCA has brought in. what we did was, and there's the third thing, that the reason why TBCA came into being is now, if you look at others, they have so many teams. Before, they used to only have maybe 10, 15 teams. Now you probably will see 40, 50, 60 teams. And the reason why 40, 60 teams came into being is because back in the days, if Umair is a quality player, right, and he's playing from team A, once your game is done, you will just stand there, and team B needs some player. They will pull Umair in because your game is done, and you will now end up playing with team B. You're done playing with team B. Now team C needs some player. Umair will go and play in team C. When TBCA came into being, the first rule that we implemented is Umair can only play from one team. What happened then is कि उससे क्या हुआ कि since Umair can only play in one team, the other teams need players. They started recruiting more players, and bringing more awareness to other people in the community. Ki, yaar, we need players, come and play with us. So that way, more and more teams started to come in, right? More and more teams started to form. And that's how you saw a big number of teams coming in to play cricket, where from 10 to 28 or 30 or 40 or 50 teams. So the things that we brought in is the change that TBCA is standing on. We brought in live scoring. It was never done before with cricket clubs. We brought in live streaming on Facebook. It was never done before. TBCA was the first one to bring that in. We brought these rules and regulations where one person can only play from a single team. That way, more and more teams can come in, right? And then the vision was simple. We're going to go out and promote cricket. Now, and again, these are the technology that is available for anybody. So now other leagues have looked into it, and they have started to apply the same thing in their format of cricket as well. So there is not, I mean, if somebody wants to come and join us, yeah, we say it's not a friendly league. It's more, when I say from a friendly perspective, it's competitive. Okay. It's not like every Sunday you'll get up and pick up your bat and you're just going to go in play a friendly game and just come back home. No, you have to compete against top quality tape ball cricket teams. So that's the differences that TBC has brought in.
Perfect. Atif bhai, assalamu alaikum. मुझे first of all, thank you so much for coming in our show. आपके क्वेश्चन से मुझे क्वेश्चन, I want to do one question to you कि आपने Facebook की बात की, तो how big TBC at social media, and what response do you get in social media like TikTok, Facebook? I mean, people come in, आपसे interact करते हैं, they ask question to you or not, क्योंकि लोग आजकल सब curious हैं. Yeah.
No, social media has played a big role in growth of TBCA. Okay, and again, it goes back to the awareness, right? There has been a time, and I'll tell you not, and I kid you not, there have been times where people would call me because my number and Hassan Bhai's number is out on TBCA Facebook page. Okay. People will call me from different cities that we are moving to Chicago a week later. We would like to play cricket. We saw your name. We saw TBC's name. How can we join a team? So it's very important to have such outlet and a face on social media where because not everything is on the field, right? There's a lot of work that happens off the field, and that's where social media comes in. So yes, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, almost every day we are out there socializing the game, socializing our league. Isn't such, yeah.
Awesome. So along with that, you talked about like being competitive in a game, or like teams को किस तरह आते हैं team. तो आपने जो rules लेके आए, or within TBCA कि जैसे one player can only play in one team, and I believe that's pretty awesome because that brings a lot of chance for new players to come in and play. जैसे we have our team in TBCA. We played this awesome tournament this year. I want to know what's the success formula to be a good team in TBCA, and obviously go at least to the point you play semis and all. And what's your observation? कि किस तरह हम टीम बनाएं या किस तरह हम उसको, क्योंकि टेप बॉल मुझे लगता है कि आउटडोर खेलना इंडोर खेलना is very different. Indoor में you have whole like big place to hit sixes and fours, and bowling different hai. Outdoor small space hai, and indoor small space hai, it's very confined. But my question is that what's the success? How you can be a successful in TBCA tournament?
I just wanna add a little thing over here.
Yeah.
Not only that, Atif Bhai and Shaeq Bhai run TBCA. Atif Bhai is a very successful captain of Kings, Chicago Kings, right, Atif Bhai?
Yes.
That's the name of the team right now, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
So he,
That's
mashallah, yeah.
Yes.
So not only that he runs the league, he has a very good and very competitive team, studded with star players, and they went all the way to the final this year too. So he can also speak from a captain's perspective too. So
Right.
Exactly.
Atif bhai, take us
Yeah.
home.
So it's been almost 5 or 6 times we have been into finals, and we have only won one championship in 2020. Again, it's from the time where we started to time where we are right now. It's not, TBCA tape ball games are not easy. You guys have been part of it. You guys have played it. There are many good players have joined the leagues, and they sometimes when I see them as well, I'm like, okay, I need to get this guy in my team. You know, that's how it is, because they're really good players that have landed in Chicago.
Right.
Again, that happens because we have a platform where we provide such platform, and they are able to play TBCA tape ball cricket games. Right now, how do you make a team
Being
one of the
successful.
best team, right? The only key to make the team one of the best is, and that's what I believe in, and that's what I have done from last 9 years or say. We have not changed a single person in our team from the time when we started to the time where we are right now. Now we have formed new teams out of our team. There was a time when Sheikh Hassan and my team was the same team, but then Sheikh Hassan decided to have his own team. Where again, from one team we grew into 2 teams, right? Now I have not changed a single person from 9 years in my team. So what happened is now we know how do we play, not only on field but on off field as well. What 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 causes problem with somebody else, right? We know that. Okay, so if we don't send him at this level of the game, you know, something will happen, right? So we know what are the qualities for each player in the team, what are the strengths and what are the weaknesses. So in that way, because we have spent so much time together on field and off field for almost 9 years, we know what anybody in the team can do. So in that way, that's how you.
Hassan bhai, I have a question for you. Okay, TBC is, as we discussed, is a non-profit, and do you go for sponsorships? And if yes, like what are the tariffs are there? Like, is there different packages, or and how difficult is it to get sponsors for the tournament?
There's like winter time. There's few years we have some sponsor. We have some sponsors. It's not very hard or easy. I mean, it depends. We don't really look into it. Like, our main purpose to provide a cricket. Not the make it very interesting for the financial purpose or whatever. It's just like, every weekend everybody have some get away from the life that we have, hard life in this country, work, family, this and that. So it was like summertime, Sunday morning, or winter time, Friday night, Saturday night, late hours. Just like right now, we had to decide 11 p.m. to do this interview. So we don't have to worry about our kids. We don't have to worry about family or events or shadi. So exactly the same thing in our mind by doing the cricket at 11 p.m. starting till 2:30 a.m. It's just like, not only the cricket that everybody is physically active with, also just the hang out with the friends late night.
Correct. That's true. Is that
I'm
time?
into that.
Yeah, the whole idea.
So we are like more into like, social circling and enjoyment and fun rather than, make it appealing for hardcore cricket with the financial appealing.
Oh, that's amazing. My next question would be, I believe this is related to the games in the tournament. Just like what happens that and we got to know there were some issues happened, like if there is a rain happen like in second inning of the game. So I mean, how do we handle those kind of situations? Like I mean, rules ke mutabik, what should we do? I mean, how can we handle if the rain happened between first inning or second innings? So do you want to share
So
your experience?
back in the days, we used to just, regardless of when the rain used to happen, we used to cancel the game and divvy up the points, right? One,
Wow.
one, or two, two to each team. But then later, after I think 2 or 3 years in when we started, we changed it to how ICC follows it, which is the DLS method, right? Duck and Lewis method, and that's what we follow. So cricket clubs allows us to do that. It
Okay.
depends where the game stopped, and that's the
Right.
scores entered in cricket clubs, the cricket clubs let you show you the DLS method and tells you whoever the winner is. So
Wow.
if your first inning stops and the second inning did not start and the rain happened, then there is, because in order for DLS to apply, certain number of overs
Has
has
to be.
to played from
Yeah.
the second inning,
Second
right?
inning.
But if that did not happen, then you divide at the point. Yeah.
Interesting. So I didn't know that. So that's amazing. Finally, तो भाई मेरा last question आपसे ये है कि just to create an awareness for our people who plays in this league, for everyone in general, okay, how important is to clean the field after the game? I mean, what are the things that you came across before? लोग नहीं करते. In fact, हम लोग जब and I don't want to brag about it, but I was very keenly about it. कि हमें करके जाना है. You have to clean everything. Single water bottle has to be cleaned out.
Correct.
So, do you want to have this message out?
No, I definitely want to have this message out to the broader community as well, to our people and the people that played regardless of table, any cricket.
Yeah.
You have to understand where we don't live in Pakistan, right? Or we don't live in where back home, and even we should do it back home as well. But regardless, that's the difference. That this is a different topic.
Sure.
Where we live in US is, especially to get, if I were to go and get a baseball field, it's very easy for me. I'll go and play $10, $20, get a baseball field and start playing there, right?
Right.
But if I were to get a cricket field, it's very hard. You have to go and show them the equipment of what equipment we're going to be using. It's not going to be damaging to anybody. It's not damaging any equipment, any like cars or buildings and stuff like that. It's not damaging anything. Then it comes down to the point where how are you going to maintain the facility, whether that's indoor or outdoor. What are you going to do? So we have to give promises out to them. Sometimes we have to make agreements and contracts with them, that it's our responsibility. Let us use your field, which are public schools, probably public corporate places, especially for table ball cricket, right?
Yeah.
Or even park district grounds, right?
Right.
We have to sign contracts with them and talk to them and tell them that, what, we take the responsibility. We want to clean it up. It is our responsibility. And we're going to
Right.
make sure that we're going to provide back your facility as we take it, right?
Okay.
So when games take place, when there are almost 22 or 24 players that are out there and playing the game, it becomes a responsibility for each team that's playing there to make sure कि वो जगह साफ करके जाए, right? It's very important because we have to come back again and use the same facility again. It's not that we can find some other field and start playing there because we just lost one. And there are chances ये होता है कि अगर हम जब साफ नहीं करके जाते, where we had a lot of challenges with that, and now we had put some rules around it for captain's penalties and teams penalties, or maybe we'll take the teams out from the league and tell them because you do not follow the rule. We enforce this, and we tell everybody in our annual group meeting that we have prior to our tournaments is make sure number one is you clean after you play, right? That
Right.
means pick up your bottles, pick up any tape, pick up any garbage, plates, any food material, anything. Just clean up the whole field where you sit, and it has to be in a pristine condition. And that's how we're going to continue the game, right?
Okay.
Otherwise these facilities are owned by somebody else, right? Park district, counties, and all that kind of stuff. They'll come, they have rounds after the games. They look it up and say, okay, you know what, you didn't clean up. Next week we're not going to have the place to play.
Yeah.
So in that case, I have even though my game was not in that field, sometimes I've done is during the week I have gone there and picked up trash as well, just so
Right.
that we can continue um, the games for the league, right?
Okay.
It's not only damaging to the teams, but it's also, if we don't clean it up, it's damaging the league, and in return, it's damaging the beautiful game we have is cricket.
So
Beautiful.
yeah, it seems like you're doing a lot, right? Atif bhai, is लग रहा है कि the sole burden of the league is on you. So मेरा question ये है कि आपका team आपका league structure क्या है? Like who's the Ramiz Raja? Who's the Najam Sethi? Like how is it being run? Can you
Who's the
explain the
Jay Shah?
organizational? यार बता दें थोड़ा organizational structure.
Lately I've been labeled as Jay Shah of cricket in Chicagoland area, because again, when the rules come around and we start applying the rules on the teams which they don't follow, then you become labeled as a Jay Shah, because it's either TBCA way or no way, right? That's not the point. The point is, everything have rules, and we have to follow rules in order to keep going, keep this thing growing, and have to we get games to play. So the structure is, yeah, is very simple. Both Hassan bhai and myself is at the co-founder level, at the president level, and then we do have a media manager. We do have an admin assistant, which is offshore, that help us with a lot social media management and stuff like that. We do have a general secretary as well. So that's we do have a committee. It's not solely that I get up and start making the decision and then we come up and we apply the decision. No, whenever there are some issues that come up, whenever there is something, new steps that we need to take, new tournaments, new things that we need to implement, 4 or 5 of us get together. We have dinners, we have whatever tea, and then we sit down, discuss those things, and implement them.
अच्छा तो शाइक भाई आप ये बताएं कि इसमें आपको कितना टाइम हाउ वुड यू क्वांटिफाई द टाइम कि आप कितने 4 घंटे हर हफ्ते स्पेंड कर रहे हैं इस पे 10 घंटे 20 घंटे is it like a part-time job or is it like a full-time you have to like basically focus on it the entire week especially when it's on season?
Well, to be honest, last few years I've been away because personal reason. But anyway, it does takes a lot of time because every year we have 1 or 2 new team joining in. Either they come on their own or I help created those teams, the new teams, by gathering guys, either put them with Yasir or put them with Shaji or put them with somebody else. Because like Atif had mentioned earlier, because of Facebook, social media, many who are moving in Chicago from out of state, from Dallas, from here and there, they contact us. And then I just keep them on the list. And when team needs the players, I just put them or adjust them here and there, or have them contact with certain captain who have posted online or Facebook. They're looking for players. So 90% or 80%, it works out. Those players are able to find a team or, find a spot in the new team. So all these things requires a lot of time. Yeah, I mean, I can't put the hours on with a weekly or monthly basis, but dealing with the players or multiple players, or trying contacting with the different teams captain. Hey, do you need a player? This and that. It's like ongoing effort.
Sure.
It never really.
So yes,
Even though last few years I'm not playing actively because of work or personal reason, but it's still even last year, last summer. I helped created putting another new team to TBCA and adjust 5 or 6 players to different teams.
Acha, sahi hai.
It's ongoing effort.
Yeah, so Umair, I think the simple, very quick and simple answer is, when you have passion for something, you don't see how much time that you're spending there. You're really out there. You're passionate about your game or your hobbies and stuff like that, and you just you nonstop spending hours and times. You don't realize how much time you really have spent.
I think that's
until the home minister comes to you and says,
exactly.
What is going on here?
That's what I was about to say. It's a good question to ask the wrong person. You gotta ask that question to the wives of the dedicated players, and
Yeah, so I guess
receiving answer.
maybe someday you guys should do a show with our wives and ask them the same questions like, okay, how's TBCA?
True.
Speaking of wives, we all are at an age where we're all having children as well, right? So, leading up to that, do you have anything in mind where you're trying to introduce the league to maybe age-based groups, maybe like 5 से लेकर 12 का age या फिर 12 से लेकर under 19, under 17, that time? Because right now it's a wide range of people, right? Like someone could be 45, someone could be 19. तो ऐसा कुछ है कि जो आप जिसमें आप कोशिश कर रहे हो कि you are bringing the juniors up to speed, and then they can join your league.
Right. So from TBCA perspective, I'm not gonna talk from the team's perspective. From TBCA perspective, it's pretty open. Any age group is open. Teams can bring anybody from any age. I do encourage young kids to come and play the game because that's how we're gonna pass on this passion and the game to the younger generation. I've been working very closely with my kids as well at elementary school level as well as a high school level, and like I work with Willowbrook High School and this Glenbard District High Schools to bring awareness for cricket. Right, I'm working very closely with them to somehow bring it as a physical activity in there. But then there is again some liability issues and insurance issues and all that kind of stuff that's going on. At my home, I encourage kids to come and play the game so that they know and they understand, because these kids have hardly been to their homeland, right? These kids are grown up here, went to school here, so cricket is kind of new to them, right? They only see their parents watching it or playing and being passionate about. So it's up to us how closely we are working with them. So the other thing that I've done is and I've done it always, even in the winter time as well, when we provide the indoor cricket, is if there is any student or a young kid that wants to play cricket and cannot afford to play cricket, I personally provide them the equipment and as well as a path to play cricket, right? And tell them that they don't have to worry about the fees, because we've been here, we've been there as well. We've been going to colleges, we've been through the colleges days where we didn't have that much money to play the game, especially when there are a lot of fees to be paid, right? So I provide a way, or TBCA provides a way for them to come and join any team they want. We help them, as Ahsen bhai said, we help them find a team to play in that, if that's a young kid as well, and that's how we are working towards it.
ठीक है.
Right, beautiful.
Yeah, this is my last question. How have you not thought about a hardball at all? उसका क्या कोई mind में है कि in the future you might introduce that portion of the game?
There's always a vision, right? There's always a vision to grow as an organization. Again, the focus is Table Cricket Association, but I'll tell you one thing right now: if we ever come into hardball side, this TBCA name will change to the Best Cricket Association instead of Table Cricket Association. So that is out there, right? The vision is out there. How and when we're going to execute it, we don't know that yet.
All right, well, thank you so very much, Ahsen and Umair. So Asif bhai and Shaeq bhai, surprise, surprise. I reached out to a couple of people who played the league from different teams, and I was successfully able to scoop some questions from them. So 3 gentlemen came up front, and they sent me their questions. So with your permission, I can get started. Would that be okay?
Yes. Sure. Tell us the names first.
I have one anonymous, but I have names for 2 others.
Anonymous.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, Shaeq bhai?
No, keep them anonymous.
Okay. 2 are fine. They said that do mention our name. That's totally fine. 1 is anonymous. So I start off with the star player who played from Qalandars this year and who plays with Green Stars in indoor, Umar Tariq. He sent some questions, so I'll combine those questions and then you can answer them as you like. More like suggestions. So number 1, that management should provide umpires in every game. Number two, that TBCA should provide balls and tails during every game. Money can be collected from each team for those. Number three, do not allow more than 3 or 4 star players in one team. Set the criteria so the cricket is competitive and not just one sided. And last one, stop the game immediately if it's raining. Can lead to a serious issue if something happens.
Can you repeat the third question, please?
Sure. Do not allow more than 3 or 4 like high profile players. For example, maybe Kami Bhai or Ashar Bhai or someone like that in one team. Set the criteria so the cricket is competitive and not just one sided.
Well, as a management, I don't think it's the right thing to say that. It's not like, this is not like IPL or PSL or like where you control these kind of things. I mean, we as an organization, TBCA, we just provide the cricket teams, like let's say your team, Yasir team. It's totally your responsibility what kind of players you bring. It is not our headache or we're not here to dictate or control who you should have or don't have. It's you gather the players for whatever reason, whether they're your friends, or you hang out with them day and night, or play
Makes sense.
together for last 5-10 years.
Right.
So we cannot control 10 Yasir or 10 Umair. Hey, this is type of player we want you to play. I mean, that's not fair.
Well,
So that's really I mean,
mhm.
I don't think it's irrelevant in here
Okay.
because
I had a little conversation with him about it. So basically, what he was trying to say is that the roster should be locked in the beginning of the tournament. So, for example, if someone is bringing in, let's say, 20 people, once they have those 20 people in the roster, they can only substitute it that the person would not come back if taken out of the roster and new player brought in. It's not like that you can have like 30, 40 people on the reserve and just keep updating the roster, keep bringing them in for the important games and then just let them go.
Right. So, Yasser, let me. The way TBCA platform is more of a democratic platform, right? The reason I say democratic is we have an all group meeting every year, and
Right.
these rules that you're talking about, we are locking the roster to 20 people. What we do is we get suggestions almost every day, right? So we have a log of where we write these questions, and the questions that are very important, which comes on the top 10 of those questions, we bring it into AGM. What AGM has is captains and vice captains of every team join and come to that AGM, and then we ask those questions and we take votes from them. We ask them, for example, can the roster be locked for 20 people? You know, because at that time, and I'll tell you right now that it may not be possible, and the reason is, and we will, it's a very solid, a very valid question. We'll take it, we'll ask in the AGM, we'll get the votes from all these 12, 16, 18 teams that comes on. If captains, we get more votes towards saying yes, lock the roster, we'll go ahead and lock the roster, right? But there is a reasoning behind keeping the roster open. And then we also put a limit of every player must play 3 weeks in order to qualify to play the semifinal.
That is correct.
There
That
is
is
some
correct.
criteria that we put it in there.
Yeah.
Reason is we cannot rock the roster is because in summer or in winter there are many other cricket going on at the same time, right? And it's very hard already to find, to pull people, because once you start playing hardball, a lot of people, young kids and younger generation, they really want to play hardball, right? They like the type of cricket that hardball is, and everybody likes it. Even when I started playing hardball, I loved it as well. So I was like, okay, I only play Saturday because Sunday is table. People wants to run to other games, right? Because they're committed there. In order to pull them into tape ball, we cannot lock the roster, because if you lock the roster and then you have players from that team end up going playing hardball or some other cricket somewhere else, then you will be short of players. And when you're short of players, then the same team will come back and say, why did you lock the roster? allow us to
I
open the
see.
roster, let more people come in and play the league game.
Makes sense.
How do we control that? Because there was a time when we didn't have this limitation of 3 weeks per person playing, at least minimum 3 weeks in order to qualify for the semifinal and final. Why? Because these star guns or the star players, because we didn't have this limitation, they ended up playing semifinal and final and winning the games, because and they never played any league game. So we put some limitations there saying that 3 हफ्ते या 4 हफ्ते एक प्लेयर को मस्ट खेलना है, which is 8 games or 6 games must खेलनी है in order to be qualified to play semi-final and final. Now, how do you lock those players? Because star players, so star players are right. They are not only needed in tape ball, but they're needed in hardball as well. 4 टीमें उधर भी कह रही हैं जी कि ये स्टार प्लेयर हमें चाहिए, टेप बॉल की भी टीमें कह रही हैं हमें चाहिए. How do you, so you have a relationship with them, then probably you pay them, or there's some other agreements. It's all up to the teams, right? We cannot control what and who the team wants to bring. अगर आपने पाकिस्तान से किसी प्लेयर को लेके आना and you're able to afford them and provide accommodation to them, be it. आप लेके आए, it's आपका हक है. It's your team. That you have the right. You can do whatever you need to do to win the game, as long as you're following that 3 weeks or 4 weeks of limitation. I'll note it down. We'll take it to AGM. We'll ask all the captains. If all the captains, we get the highest number of votes in favor of this suggestion, we'll go with that.
Makes sense. And quickly,
let me answer your other questions as well. Your number one question.
Yeah, I was going to get on those. Yes.
Yeah. So number one question was that management should provide umpire. So Yasir bhai, I want to take you back a little. TBCA का format and TBCA का motto क्या है? To provide as possible as the cheapest cricket out there to the community, or to free. पिछले 2 साल से हमने सिर्फ $250 per team लेना शुरू किया, just so that we can cover the cost of umpires in the playoffs, right? And then food, and then on top of that, providing live streaming, commentaries, all these licensings,
and also trophies
for those tools and softwares to use, generator or gas, and then on top of that, trophies, right? Because previously, when we had the first ever outdoor tournament for TBCA, our trophies were rotatable trophies, right? They were like, we'll give it to you, you take pictures, you return it back to us, we'll present it again in the next year tournament. A lot of teams did not like that. They wanted to take their trophies home, right? So we're like, okay, if we have a $0 league going on for TBCA, then we can't afford it. So we need some fees around it, which is to cover the cost of at least the trophies and these administrative items, and to provide the cheapest cricket out there, right? Now, if we were to, and then you have to understand, there is no league in Chicagoland or even in US that provides 34 games a season for tape ball.
Makes sense.
Right? You have 2 games per Sunday. You have 16 weeks, which is 32 to 34 games. On top of that, you have semi-final and final that you're playing. Quarterfinal, semi-final, and final. So some teams are playing over 34 games. There is no league in US which provides 34 or 36 games at the cost of $250 per team. Right? So you have to see the in order to provide an umpire every game for that 32 weeks, you're talking about almost a cost of $6,000 or plus. Again, we are providing free
12 teams.
12 teams.
Games are happening at the same time. 6 different locations. So whether you want to have 1 umpire or 2 umpires, so let's say 12 umpires.
It makes sense.
It
makes sense.
And also keep that in mind. This question you receive from one person or maybe multiple players who play in this league, but they should also talk to their captain and vice captain, because those are the 2 people are coming in the meeting before the league where we discuss this thing, and majority of the captains they vote no when we talk about these things.
Yeah, I mean,
we go, like we said, we make beside the basic cricket rules, all these other additional stuff to make our league better. We go by voting, like, where most of the team captains and vice captains agree. And by voting, even though, like, if one or two people agree to it, if other 6 or 4 people are saying no, we cannot enforce it because majority are saying no. So
Makes
just
sense.
because one player from certain team asking for it, my question is, whichever the team he's playing, what is the team captain, what's their point of view about this?
Gotcha.
Yeah,
All right,
and
guys.
another thing is,
Sorry,
you have to,
Atif, I'm so sorry. Just want to remind you guys that we are on a 1 hour mark. So let's just try to,
Yeah, let's
you know,
one
speed it up a
one more
little.
point that I want to bring up,
Sure,
Yasir
sure.
bhai, is that from from umpiring perspective, again,
Of
we're
course.
talking about cost, right? The other leagues that they're able to provide neutral umpiring in every game, especially the league game. First, they are not providing 32 games for the whole season. There are different tournaments going on, right? They're only providing 8 games or 10 games per tournament, and for that, one team is paying almost $2,700. So $2,700 for 10 games, that's almost like what? $270 per game,
Per
right?
game.
10 games, 10 games. And after 10 games, they have to start another tournament, which again they're paying $2,700, right? So that's almost like $6,000, right? Now here in TBCA, we are paying $250 for 34 games, where a minimum, like it comes down to what? Not even $10 per game, right?
Correct.
So you have to balance out, right? If you are providing some competitive quality free cricket or almost free cricket, I call it free cricket because all the money that we receive is spend it back to them, spend it back on the teams. So almost free cricket, $250 per team for 34 games. This is the best. Otherwise we have to change our costing structure, which would be probably will charge $3,000 per team. It'll be
It wouldn't be worth it, right?
it won't be worth it.
All right, so the next set of questions is from Khurram Bhai. He's a vice captain of the team, Chicago Calendars. And here are the questions. So there are three main questions, and I'm just going to read as I receive. Is TBCA has something in mind to put some criteria on before inducting new teams into the leagues? As recent experiences have shown that adding new teams just add numbers without quality control criteria is making the season boring and less competitive. All right. The second question is, what steps TBCA can take to make league more transparent, to provide all team equal opportunity to play and give their best to win? And the last one is, keeping in view new teams and players are joining the league, it's very important to create a corruption-free environment. There has been a couple of incidents notified to management where TBCA had no choice but to push things under the rug. If such things would repeat, league reputation and game sanctity will be on the line. And all right, go ahead.
Okay, that's these are very tough questions. I think we will be going into the second part of the show. I'm telling you right now, I'll be more than I'm very excited to be part of the show.
Right.
But I think the Q&A part, I'm loving it.
Okay.
TBCA criteria before inducting new teams, right? Again, we cannot stop anybody from playing cricket and joining TBCA or any league to play cricket, right? Because again, we need to step out of being the captain of the team to more broader of the ambassadors of the game, right? As an ambassador of the game, you cannot stop anybody from coming and joining and playing the game, right? If there is a person that is reaching out to me and saying that, or TBCA or Hassan Bhai or me or anybody saying that I want to be part of the team, we'll help you find a team. If they say, I have a team, I want to be part of the season next season, we'll tell them to come and join the season. Now we don't conduct their what level of cricket you're playing, how competitive you are, because that's pushing them away, right? That's not promoting cricket. That's like, okay, you're not good enough, hey, you cannot be part of the league. That's not how it works, right? Just like ICC tournament right now, Sri Lanka did not do very well, or Bangladesh did not do very well, or Afghanistan got better. But if we were to push them, if ICC were to push them out, Afghanistan will not be what Afghanistan is today, right? So
Right.
you join big league, you play with big guys, you play with star players, and that's how you promote, that's how you get better, and the next year you come in, you probably win the championship, you know. So that's number one. Number two is what step are being taken to be transparent. Look, before we start any tournament, TBCA is as transparent, or if not more transparent, than any league in the Chicagoland. Okay, I'll stamp on it. If anybody has any doubts about it, please, I'm more than welcome to talk to them at any point. I have not seen the same people, the same team bringing these kind of questions or objections or issues to the other leagues or other. I've not seen it. This is always with TBCA that they have come and asked these questions, and we're more than welcome to discuss with them. Look, again, TBCA is as transparent, if not more transparent than anybody. We have a rule book. We have all the rules written in that book. Now, that rule book may not be 100% correct. Why? Because every year we learn new things, come up, we learn new things, and we then make that a rule and put it in that rule book, right? That's how you grow. That's how every organization grows. That's how the game promotes as well. So if they're talking about being transparent, we are transparent. We have a captain group. We discuss what the issues are. If anybody has an issue, it comes to the disciplinary committee. We have a DC committee. DC committee takes actions. We, based on those rules, we reply back those actions. Now, people sometimes, don't like it. It's unfortunately then that's how it gets out of our hand. There was an incident last year where two teams got into two teams were playing on the ground, and they decided, TBC has a rule that no two teams can decide who wins the game without playing the game, right? That's against the rule. Whereas there were two teams who decided when to stop the game and who will win the game on their own without actually playing the game, right? Or they stopped the game in the middle of the whole game. Correct. And some got benefit out of it. That's being transparent. TBC got involved. We looked at the rule. We applied the rule. There was one team that was not happy about it. There was another team who caught it and told us. So we are, we just don't have to, we're not only organizing it, but we have to be, put some rail guards around the whole structure to make sure we have this continuation of the tournament. And I think your third one was keeping in view of what was your third one?
Oh, that was a long one. Keeping in view new teams and players are joining the league, it's very important to create a corruption-free environment. There has been a couple of incidents notified to the management where TBCA had no choice but to push things under the rug. If such things would repeat, league reputation and game sanctity will be on the line. I think that's very vague, to be very honest. I mean, from my perspective, it's really hard for me to throw that question out. But as I said, I'm reading exactly the words that were sent to me.
No, that's fine. This kind of question, but the key point is corruption. What corruption they're referring to?
Yasir bhai, I think I think in your second session, if you guys invite us back in, I'm loving the Q&A section of this whole show, and it's good. I'm very happy that you reached out to other teams and players and candidly asked them the questions and bring the questions so we can answer them. Very good, very, very good. Again, I'll tell you this thing. We have a rule book. We have all the rules listed there, right? When a rule is applied to a certain team, for example, I'll tell you right now, we have a rule that says by Wednesday, your score has to be up to date and in cricket clubs by 8 p.m. Wednesday. If it's 9 p.m. or 8 or 5 p.m. Wednesday, you are outside of the rule. You did not follow the rule. And that's when TBCA will come in and check your roster to see if there are any issues. We will apply a DC rule on it. It's in the fairness of all the teams, right? If one team is not following the rule, then it's not fair Why are we there? Why do we have an AGM? Why do we have a TBCA structure? Why do we have rules? So there was an incident where one team had wrong players that did not play the tournament or play that game, but they were listed as playing 11. They actually were in their roster, and by 8 p.m. they did not correct their scorecard. Again, being transparent, and again being TBCA, I got involved and I said an hour before that, hey, you only have 1 hour, and I was not supposed to do that. Okay, but out of courtesy, I got involved and I said, hey, you have 1 hour left before it goes out of hand, and where other teams will make have an objection as to this team is cheating. You have 1 hour left, please correct the scorecard. Okay, so I gave them a leeway to correct the scorecard, so that penalties are not applied to that team, right? So again, as such, there is no corruption going on. Okay, I don't know what does corruption word means.
Yeah, I think because and personally, I think it was a strong word. But as I said, I mean, I promised them to relay the words as is, and that's what I did. And also, if it would be any specific event, if they can recall it and provide further details of it, then we can ask it, and it would be a much better and much clearer question, I would say.
Yeah. This question needs to be a little cleared out, right?
Elaborated.
They need to clear that out. But in nutshell, what I'm gonna say is you have to be fair to all the teams, and that's what TBCA does. You cannot give favor to one single team. I have never given a favor to Kings. You can call I'll ask you. I'll give you numbers for Kings players as well, and I want you to go to them and ask questions from them and take questions from them and bring it to the show as well. I have never, I'll claim it right now, other than playing Kings games on a Kings ground, which we will be changing in next year as well. We changed it this year as well. There is a reasoning behind why we played all the games in the Kings ground, is because from management perspective, it becomes very easy if the management team is playing at a one field, so that we can pretty much manage the whole league, right?
Right.
But from last year, we even changed that. It took us time. We changed that. Last year, my team went out to play in other grounds as well. And from next year, we're also changing our home ground as well, right? Because we've been getting complaints that the ground is not in a good condition. Understood. Completely understood. But you have to be fair to all the teams. You cannot just give favors to one single team. That's not how it works. And because when you don't give favor to a single team 3 or 4 times, then sometimes they think against us. Yep.
All right, perfect. I think inshallah in near future we should do a second session, because I do have more questions for you. But it has been a pleasure talking to you guys. Seriously, we did not get enough of you guys. So inshallah, let's do a part 2 sometime in near future, and we'll go over more questions and more concerns. And I think I personally wanted this to be a session where we can elaborate and shed light on what TBCA has to offer, what TBCA has been going through, and what are their vision and future plans and whatnot. Everyone deserves to know, especially the Chicagoland cricket enthusiasts. I thank you both so very much, and I will pass it on to Ahsen and Umair for comments, and then thank you guys at the end, and then you guys can share your comments and thoughts about this podcast. So I'll pass it on to Ahsen for right now.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Yasir. Thank you so much, Atif bhai and Hassan bhai, coming in. It's been pleasure talking to you. सबको I believe get to know that what TBCA is. बहुत सी बातें जो लोगों को नहीं पता थी, they'll get to know. So I appreciate it, and see you next time, inshallah.
Yeah, same from me. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका आतिफ भाई और शाइक भाई for giving us time, and the audience. You're giving them a window into what your league is about, so that definitely speaks volume, and it will show to people, it'll pique their interest. Like someone like me who doesn't play, मैं काफी interested हूँ कि what is this league about? Why should I not play? Like it just sounds like a very competitive and interesting league. So thank you very much for offering your time, and really appreciate it. Back to you, Yasir. Bye.
No, Atif bhai and Shaeq bhai, please take turns and please share your departing comments.
Yasir, Umair, and Ahsen, you guys are doing a wonderful job. It's been amazing to be on this show. Again, I loved the first part where I was able to share the vision of TBCA and, as such, cricket, promoting cricket in Chicagoland area. Not that. The only last piece I'm going to add is because of TBCA, we have TBCL, which is the Tape Ball Champions League in New York. We have organized tape ball cricket in Houston. We have organized tape ball cricket in California as well. And that, believe me, it started right after TBCA. When the TBCA started putting all these structures around, everybody carried on it, picked on it, and they started forming these organizations together. So again, it's all about bringing awareness about cricket and promoting it, right? The second piece is the Q&A. I loved it. I totally loved it. That's the type of questions, and candidly, you brought those questions, and those were fire questions. I love to answer those kind of questions.
I
You guys are doing.
apologize if anything offended or
No,
anything, but
no. There is nothing to. There's absolutely nothing to apologize. There is this. I probably this was the best way to know what other people are thinking, because sometimes
exactly
they don't bring it right to your face, because
correct.
it becomes they think that we will mind it, or something like
Correct.
that, or we will be biased. There's nothing like that. TBCA is not my forum. TBCA is not your forum. TBCA is everybody's. Tape Ball Cricket Association is everybody. That's why it's free, right? That's why it's free, because we want people to join, we want people to play, we want people to bring questions and make this as a better format for everybody. So you guys doing an amazing job. I think you picked up a right topic. Continue this show. You have our support.
Thank you so much, Shaeq bhai.
Well, Yasir, Ehsan, and Umair, thank you for having us. It was a good conversation, good topics, good questions from wherever the people or players you received it from. So thank you to say thank you to them from us. Inshallah, we'll continue to do whatever best possible for everybody. And
Inshallah.
inshallah. And like earlier, you had asked question about the sponsorship. So, in past, we had very big sponsors who wanted us to merge with them, but our motto was, keep the cricket as cheap as possible instead of making it entry fees and all that, make it hard for all the players who just like to play every weekend for fun part instead of paying high fees. And now recently again, last few years, another league is coming after us because they want us to merge with them, and this way they can make it more commercial. We have also said no to them, so most likely they'll try to start their own outdoor summer league, and that's fine with them. I mean, they all have their rights and freedom to do whatever they want, but we want to continue our TBCA with our motto, make it accessible for everybody.
Inshallah, for sure.
And one question that you had asked, I think, from Omar about the rain, like when it's rain, we can stop. So that we used to do it in the beginning, first or second season. But once again, when we do the meeting and all these additional rules comes from all the voting after discussion. So now whether we continue or stop is all because this is added to those rules as per different teams. Let's go assess by the two captains, two teams who are playing in that location. And if it's not much wet and rain has stopped after 30 minutes, they'll wait another 15 minutes and they'll continue to the game. This way, there are 22 guys, two teams, don't waste their weekend. Because at the end, everybody's look forward to play the game.
Play it
So
again.
it's easy for us to just stay home in the bed. Hey, at 9:30 looks raining. Let's cancel it. But what about the other 22 guys who actually wants to play? So we look for the reason to play, not to cancel.
Got it. Well,
Yeah.
Atif bhai and Shaeq bhai, thank you so very much. आप लोगों की पार्टिसिपेशन से हमें बेहद मजा आया. इंशाल्लाह इसका पार्ट 2 जल्दी करेंगे और आई होप के आई गैदर अप सम मोर क्वेश्चंस. और मेरी इंटेंशन ही यही थी कि इफ वी सोर्स दीज क्वेश्चंस, क्योंकि मुझे आई डू नॉट वांट पीपल टू थिंक कि मेरी कोई इल इंटेंशन है या क्या है, लेकिन इन क्वेश्चंस का मकसद ही यही है कि दूसरी टीमों के दिमाग में जो बात चलती है, if they are thinking कि कुछ गलत हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है, तो candidly अगर उनसे पूछ के और आप लोगों से उसका जवाब सबके सामने लाया जाए, I think it would help them understand as well. So that was the entire intention behind it. Or inshallah, we'll prepare more for the next session. And I think this is our longest podcast so far yet. So inshallah, looking forward to more. Thank you so very much, and thank you so very much, our beloved audience, for sticking with us for the entirety of the show. Inshallah, we'll be bringing more good stuff for you. और हमारे पास और भी topics हैं cricket के अलावा भी. Eventually हम लोग उनके ऊपर भी बात करेंगे आहिस्ता आहिस्ता. There are many pioneers and local celebrities of Chicago in the Desi community which will be joining us. So stay tuned. Keep supporting us. Like and share and subscribe. And thank you so much. Love you all. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Allah Hafiz.